Okay, hi. So the book I'd like to review today is called Breath, The New Science of a Lost Art by James Nestor. Now, the reason I wanted to read this book was primarily because I personally did go through a lot of struggles related to breathing. I've always had allergies, and I was curious about, as a teacher, I was recently teaching a unit on the respiratory system, and I got really curious and fascinated by how breath enters and leaves our body. It goes into the windpipe and then the trachea, and then into both our lungs and into the bronchioles and then the alveoli, and then there's an exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen that goes into our blood. I mean, it's a very simple biological process, but this book by James Nestor really opened my eyes to why it's so important to actually do it consciously and mindfully. So, a couple of things that I learned from this book, I'm just pulling out some of my notes from this book. What I try doing when I read a book is I take pictures of different passages that I'd like to discuss in these reviews, and I basically record that on my app with a short comment about things I'd like to discuss and share with you. There are several comments that I do note down, and then I choose about three to four to share with you. So the most important insight from this book was basically the most recommended strategy with regards to breathing, which basically is 5.5 seconds to take a deep breath into your body, and then 5.5 seconds to exhale that same breath out. So this was the strategy that James Nestor recommended the most throughout this book. It's not a very long read, it's a quick read, but he talks about his own struggles with respiratory issues growing up, and in the book, it's filled with a lot of suggestions and different courses that he took about breathing techniques from around the world. So this particular strategy was what I wanted to start this discussion with. Some of the other things that I think one of the biggest takeaways from this book was the importance of nasal breathing, breathing from your nose rather than your mouth, because the structure of your nose is such that it filters the air in a much more efficient manner than when you breathe in your mouth. And a lot of cultures around the world have developed practices to help kids imbibe this habit from a very young age. So that was one of the big takeaways. Um, I think what James also says is that while interviewing super athletes and people that are really dependent on breathing well, like swimmers or deep sea divers, his previous book was on deep sea diving and how people dive from cliffs and keep their breath for about 12 to 13 minutes. And the basic idea there was that our lungs are capable of much more than we actually think they are. And simple tips and tricks can actually make our lungs more efficient. So, nasal breathing was another suggestion. Apart from that, I think, let me see, I think they also said that by breathing effectively and breathing slowly was one of the big tips in this book rather than rushing through our breaths. When you breathe slowly, you can also calm your mind and calm your thoughts. So, that was another big recommendation. Exercise, I think, was one of the suggestions in terms of how, like, different strategies to expand your breathing ability. I think just leading a more active lifestyle can help you um, begin to, take control of your breathing. And I think it also helps reverse aging and various illnesses. That was another thing that came out of this book, is that there were people that the author interviewed. And he calls these people that he interviews pulmonauts, and they're sort of like breath explorers, which I thought was an interesting concept. So, so these people that he interviewed, Some of them were going through some, severe life-threatening illnesses, and they were able to recover from that. I mean, there was obviously um, medicine and medical help there, but breathing was an important part of that recovery process. Um, I think another thing they also mentioned was breathing into your body, like into your abdomen, and breathing out with an upright posture. I think that's just something I picked up. So making sure you breathe and feel the air going through your body and feel it coming out of your body as well. And he also recommended some strategies with regards to breathing from different parts of the world. I actually have the book here, so I can tell you some of the strategies. The the pranayama and the Surya Bheda pranayama, the Tim Wolf method, is basically this person who was able to sustain very cold temperatures by controlling their breathing. So, yep, I mean, these were two I'd recommend. I'd recommend picking up the book to find out more about some of these techniques. It's a quick read, and I'm sure you will enjoy it.